أبو رجاء قتيبة بن سعيد حدثنا حاتم بن إسماعيل عن الجعد بن عبد الرحمن قال سمعت السائب بن يزيد يقول ذهبت بخالتي إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقالت يا رسول الله إن ابن أختي وجع، فمسح صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم رأسي ودعا لي بالبركة وتوضأ فشربت من وضوئه وكنت خلف ظهري فنظرت إلى خاتم بين كتفيه فإذا هو مثل زر الحجرة. The hadith which is coming here in the Shama'il Muhammadiyah, this is a famous portion or a famous book written by Imam Tirmidhi. And first we'll translate the hadith. And the hadith has been related from Sa'id bin Yazid. We'll talk about him. And he said that ذهبت بي خالتي, that my aunt, she took me to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she said, O Rasulullah, the son of my sister, she was his aunt, he has a fever. So he says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he rubbed my head and he made dua of barakah for me. And he made wudu after that, and I happened to drink from the wudu water also. We'll talk about that also. And I stood behind him and I looked towards his khatam. I looked towards the seal of prophethood that was between his shoulders. And I realized, فَإِذَا هُوَ, suddenly I thought it was the likes of a pigeon egg, the egg of a pigeon. There's two translations, we'll go over that too. So this chapter here, in this beautiful book about the characteristics of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and when we speak about the Shama'il, which is the plural of Shamila, there's two types of Shama'il or Shamila. There is the Shama'il al-Khuluqiyya and Shama'il al-Khalqiyya. The Shama'il al-Khuluqiyya is the characteristics of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his attitude, his character, how he was with people. And Khalqiyya is what you've been dealing with so far, what you've been reading about the physical characteristics of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in this chapter it's talking about a very special and distinct characteristic of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is what we call the seal of prophethood. The reason why we study the Shama'il is obvious. It will increase the mahabba and the love of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm sure Mufti Tawsif in his dars has been mentioning this. And mahabba has different angles to it. A person will love somebody because of their beauty. A person will love somebody because of their complete personality. And usually when we're speaking about Shama'il and the characteristics of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, these are the 2 points where we're trying to trigger the mahabba of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. First of all, in his physical makeup. That a person becomes attracted, looking to someone, loves someone because of their beauty. It is possible that somebody can love somebody though that person that they love is ugly. It's possible. Not everybody's a good-looking person. But because Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the mahabba with him is kamal, it's complete. And there should be no type of fault in the mahabba of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There could be fault in the person who's loving him, that's there. But there should not be any fault from Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's side. There never will be. That's why the ayat of Quran, where Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is talked about by Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the most beautiful role model. The most beautiful role model. A question arises here. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, who is Khaliq, the Creator, and the qulub and the hearts are in the fingers of Allah Ta'ala, meaning Allah Ta'ala controls all of the hearts. If Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is of the highest category of character, and he's the best role model, then why do so many people in this world dislike him? Why? As Muslims, alhamdulillah, we love him. But وَأَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ وَأَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Most people don't understand, they don't know the greatness of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So why do so many people hate Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam despite the seal of prophethood and despite the words of Allah Ta'ala talking about how great he is and how he's a great role model? The answer is in the rest of the ayah. لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرِ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. I give the example that if somebody puts the biryani in front of you, or puts the kabsa in front of you, or for the kids, a hamburger, pizza, whatever it may be, something which is very tasty, but you have a very strong fever, the taste of that food will not be good, even though it is the best biryani in the market, even though it's the best pizza, 8.4 on the 8.4 pizza, slice of pizza, New York slice of pizza, we'll say, or even though it's a great kabsa or great falafel, whatever it may be. Even though it's great tasting food, but the person who's sick will not understand the good taste of that. So we ask, is the fault in the food or the fault in the person who's sick? The sick person. In the same way Allah Ta'ala says that Nabi Sallallahu is the greatest of role models. But who will he be the greatest of role model for? لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ. That person who believes in Allah Ta'ala. وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرِ. That person who believes in the hereafter. وَذَكَرُ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. And those people who remember Allah Ta'ala in abundance. If you have these qualities, you love Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If you don't believe in Allah Ta'ala, if you don't believe in the hereafter, if you're not remembering Allah Ta'ala in abundance, where will you have any relationship with Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Because all Nabi Sallallahu talked about were these things. Belief in Allah, the hereafter, remembering Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, by studying his Shama'il, we get a very kamil mahabba and a very complete mahabba and love with Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the Khatam al-Nubuwwah is one of those beautiful characteristics of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It was a characteristic which is very logically understood in the way that when we are buying something, so we are looking at the tag behind to see if the company has tagged that thing. If it's some halal meat source, sometimes we're looking for the stamp of the halal on it. We are always looking for assurance and seeing whether this thing is authentic or not. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam definitely proved his authenticity through his akhlaq. He proved his authenticity through his mu'jizat, which will come about his mu'jizat later on in this book. He has proven his authenticity, but from the side of Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala, in the form of the stamp, his authenticity has been proven on his body as well. And this is the seal of prophethood, which there are different ahadith about it. But it is not something which was exclusive with the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because about the last hadith of this chapter, which we won't reach, we'll do a couple of hadith. The last hadith of this chapter is the chapter of Salman Farsi and how he accepted Islam. And he basically looked for three qualities of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to prove that he was a prophet. And they say Salman Farsi lived 150 years. He came from a long legacy of priests and rabbis who were on the haqq, they were following the Islam properly. About 6, 7 different of them he passed through until they told him that the last prophet is coming in Mecca Mukarramah. And he ended up going to Medina and meeting with the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam there. And when he went there, first of all he saw that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, 3 signs that he had was Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam accepting the zakat, and he put the sadaqah in front of him, and Rasulullah did not accept it. He gave it to the poor people who were next to him. And then he gave him a gift. And the second quality was that the Prophet, he will take the gift and he will share it with others. And he took the gift and he shared it with his friends. And the third one was the seal of prophethood, which Salman Farsi looked at. So this is signs that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, this seal of prophethood was not only with him, it was with other Anbiya as well. There was a hadith in Mustadrak Hakim which says that the other Anbiya had it on their right hand, but Rasulullah exclusively had it on his back, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which is in most of the hadith, Baina Katifay. We do have hadith also where it's on his right, under his right shoulder, but the most mashhur and accepted qawl is that it was between his 2 shoulders. So by reading about the Shama'il and reading about these things, the mahabba and the love of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is increased. And this is the starting point of us trying to fulfill the hukuk of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The starting point is mahabba and love. Allah Ta'ala has made the heart the markaz of the body. It is the center point of the body. In regards to hidayah, yahdi qalbah. Allah Ta'ala guides the heart. When Allah Ta'ala speaks about the worst of the worst, asfalu safireen, may Allah Ta'ala protect us and our families, the munafiqeen, Allah Ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ. In their hearts they have a sickness. So the heart usually is that which now, whatever's in there, it's going to make manifest through the body and through the things that we do, what we actually believe. So that's why the first point is the heart. Is the heart connected with Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? That is why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من والدي وللناس أجمعين. Even Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu came to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he told Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I love you, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, more than anything except my own self. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam then warned Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu that this is not the right way to believe. Your iman is not complete yet. And then Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu said that, he told that you cannot be a complete believer until you love me more than your own self. Right away Umar radiallahu anhu said that I love you more than my own self. Then he told Umar, Al-an ya Umar, Al-an, now you believe properly. The mahabba and love of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has to be more than anything. Our families, our wealth, whatever it may be, it has to be more than anything. So the mahabba and the love, that's where it starts off. And it should not be underestimated. There's a great hadith of Bukhari where one Bedouin, majlis like this, regular majlis, a Bedouin came in. And the Bedouins, they were a little bit different. They used to speak loudly. They didn't have the same adab and respect like the people in the city had. So one Bedouin came in, and Nabi Sallallahu was sitting in a similar majlis like this, talking to the Sahaba, radiallahu anhu, and this person said, Ya Muhammad, out loud. And the Sahaba did not say the name Muhammad sallallahu. They used to say, Ya Nabi Allah, Ya Rasulullah. It was a little bit of disrespect to say, Ya Muhammad. Even though some called him that, but it wasn't the common calling out in nida of Nabi Sallallahu. So the Sahaba turned around, and first of all, he's raising his voice and saying, Muhammad. They said, won't you lower your voice? And he said, I won't. And he said it again, Eh Muhammad. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in a louder voice, he told him, Halumma, come closer, in a louder voice. Ulama say there's two reasons why he used a louder voice. One reason could be because of the akhlaq of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If you're going to tell this person, why are you screaming, get the hell out of here, what are you doing? He'll never come back. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, you can scream loud, I can scream loud, no problem. Come and sit, no problem, feel comfortable. And some of them say, subhanAllah, that the reason why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did this is because Allah Ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, la tadfa'u aswatakum fawqa sawtin. O you who believe, do not raise your voice over the voice of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam knew about this. It shouldn't be such that this person raised his voice over Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, going directly against the ayat, and right here the adab of Allah Ta'ala must come on him. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Nabi Sallam with so much rahmah, was scared maybe the punishment of Allah Ta'ala might hit. Right away Nabi Sallam raised his voice higher, so that this person may not get punished because he's raising the voice over me. So Rasulullah said, Halumma, come. This man came forward, and he said something that Anas radiallahu anhu, in this hadith, said that this was one of the most happiest days of our life when we heard this. And the man asked Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, يُحِبُّ الْقَوْمَ وَلَمَّا يَلْحَقْ بِهِمْ. There's a man, he loves the people, but he can't be with them. He's talking about himself. I'm in the desert, I've got my lands and my camels out there, I live far away, I can't keep coming back and forth. But I can't be with you, but I love you. Nabi Sallallahu said, Al-mar'u ma'a man ahabba yawm al-qiyamah. If you love me, then you'll be with me. That's why Anas radiallahu anhu said, just by mere loving Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, this man obviously wasn't making amal on everything that he was supposed to make amal on. He wasn't even around Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Just by merely loving Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I'll get the ma'iyat and the companionship of him on the day of Qiyamah. Subhanallah. So that's why loving Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it is the starting point. Then obviously, Inna lima yuhibbu muti'un. As it said in Arabic, that person who loves someone, he will obey them. And next is the obedience of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's the second haqq of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And inshallah, the mahabba of reading these things will lead us to that. And that's another subject. Let's go to the hadith. The hadith has been related by Sa'id bin Yazid. Sa'id bin Yazid is from the Sighar al-Sahaba, we call him. Sighar in the way that he is not a very known Sahabi, and Sighar in the way literally he was a very young Sahabi also. Very young child. He was born after the Hijrah. And there's basically in the hadith we find three things popular about Sa'id bin Yazid. The first popular thing is a hadith of Bukhari, where Sa'id bin Yazid says that my father took me with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Hajjat al-Wada. He was a young child, and he says I was only 7 years old. And Imam Bukhari has mentioned this. Dhahabtu bi abi, that my father, he took me to the Hajjat al-Wada with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wa ana ibn 7 sinin, and I was only 7 years old. So this is one thing known by Sa'id bin Yazid. The second thing known about Sa'id bin Yazid is from this hadith and another hadith in Tabrani, where he says I was a small child, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed by us. We were small children. And he grabbed me and asked me, what's your name? And I told him my name is Sa'id bin Yazid. And he rubbed my head like this. And in this hadith also, he rubbed his head as well. Later on in his life, Sa'id bin Yazid, he lived till about 93 years old. Very old he lived. And he was sitting with Ata, and Ata was his mawla, his freed slave. And Ata said, oh my ex-master, one thing I want to ask you, don't take it personal, but your hair is very strange. Because Sa'id bin Yazid had the white hair on the side, and he had the white beard, completely white, but the middle roots were all black. It was all black hair. So he asked Sa'id bin Yazid that why is the middle of your hair black, but everything else is white? We have not seen this in anybody else. So he said that when I was a young child, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he walked by me and he rubbed the top of my head. And since that day, the hair has not become white after that. So this is the second thing about Sa'id bin Yazid, which is very popular. And the third about Sa'id bin Yazid is this hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he says that that my aunt took me to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she said, oh Rasulullah, the son of my sister, meaning my nephew, wajih, he's got a fever. فَمَسَحَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ وَسَلَّمَ رَأْسِهِ. Nabi sallallahu, he rubbed the head. Ulama say here, a very simple ruqya has been explained in this hadith. If our children are sick, so the fever part, or whatever pain is there, we should rub it first of all. And of course with the words, for example, Allahumma shfi, Allahumma barik fi, whatever it may be, any words. In English also, may Allah Ta'ala, forgive him, may Allah Ta'ala heal him. We should do this. This is a very simple ruqya and a very simple thing of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he rubbed his head and he made dua of barakah, which later on Sa'id bin Yazid has also said that my long age and my good health and this black hair was from this dua of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nabi sallallahu also made wudu, tawadda. It's not known that whether he made wudu specially for him or he just regularly just made wudu. And after that, فَشَرِبْتُ مِنْ وُضُوئِهِ, I drank from his wudu water. This does not mean that he was making wudu and he was underneath him drinking the water like this. Doesn't mean this. The water which is left over after wudu is called wudu. Some of us make the mistake, especially if we are speaking Urdu. So we say, go make wudu. So wudu is the water of wudu. Wudu is the ablution. Wudu is the water that's used when you make the wudu. So the water that was left over, for example, if I made wudu with this, and there was water left over, so that water, even for us, is sunnah to drink that water. Because we don't make the wudu in the lota, which you call, or the little pitchers, so sometimes we don't have this sunnah alive in us. We make the wudu from the faucet and the sinks. But if we are making wudu from a bucket, or we're making wudu from the lota, and make sure the lota, of course, or if the bucket or the pitcher is clean, because sometimes they get a little bit greasy and dirty and stuff like that, so you might not want to drink that water. But if it's a clean pitcher, then it's sunnah after that we can drink that water, and we drink that water standing up also, out of izzah and out of honor of the water, because that water has been used for ibadah, for the means of ibadah. So it seems to be that he drank from this wudu water, the leftover water of Nabi Sallam was given to him. It could have been for the sake of shifa also, that he also got the dua of barakah, and then he also drank from that water to get a little bit of shifa, or just to drink the water. فَكُنْتُ خَلْفَ ظَهْرِي. And I happened to stand behind Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. As kids do, they are going all around everything. So I stood behind Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and I looked at his khatam between his two shoulders. Which I said before, this is the most common place that the khatam and the seal of prophethood was at in the body of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Suddenly I realized that it was the likes of Zir al-Hajara. Zir al-Hajara has two meanings. Imam Nawawi has said that Zir actually means up. It's a little knot. A knot. And Hajara is a tent. So there's small little knots in the tents that they tie in order to get the net together in the knot. And these were the knots of a tent, which is a small little round thing. And from the other hadith we see also, and some say that Zir actually means an egg. And Hajara is a type of bird. So the egg of a bird, a pigeon egg. A pigeon egg is a very small little thing. Sometimes you get these little candy Easter eggs, right? Little candy Easter eggs, you see them, they're very small. So it's a small little egg like this. That was now kind of like an oval-shaped little like birthmark or protruding piece of skin was coming out of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which was oval-shaped, which almost looked like a pigeon egg. A pigeon egg. So this is his experience with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. One other hadith which is now going to be explaining this one also. حدثنا سعيد بن يعقوب الطلقاني أخبرنا أيوب بن جابر عن سماك بن حرب عن جابر بن سمرة رضي الله عنه قال رأيت خاتم بين كتفي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم غدة حمراء مثل بيضة الحمامة. He says here, and the Rawi is Jabir bin Samura, a famous Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he says that I saw the khatim, I saw the seal of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which was between his two shoulders, which is the common view of where it was. Ghuddatan hamra. Ghudda means a protruding thing that's coming out of the skin, like a birthmark. You could call it a gland, or you can call it something which is protruding out. So it was protruding out, as so many of us have a birthmark or something sometimes. So it was protruding out, and it was hamra, it was red of color. So it was a little bit different color, a little different as birthmarks are. Mithla baydat al-hamama, and it was the likes of a egg of a pigeon. So it was a very small little thing. And this seemed to be their experience on how they saw this great khatam of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the love of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is one of the incredible miracles of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, being that we know from Salman Farsi that these were things that were known from before. The Khatam al-Nubuwwah was something known from all the prophets. So like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam assured his prophethood through the stories of the past, like he assured him through the ayats of Quran, he also was assured through this great khatam, which we know Salman Farsi knew from the prophets of before. The Sahaba radiallahu anhu, many of them, because no one would look at the back of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and try to check these things unless they got close. So you'll see that the Sahaba many a time as small children they saw it, and then they realized this later on that this was the khatam. They might even known that this was the khatam when they saw it. But later on, because of Salman Farsi and understanding that there is such a thing as the khatam, they realized later on that that was the seal of prophethood. Or it could be such, like other Sahaba radiallahu anhu, where they looked for it and they actually saw it and they knew about the khatam of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is one of the miracles of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and an incredible thing, and it should increase in us the mahabba and the yaqeen that this Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are supposed to love him with all of our heart and increase the mahabba and increase the love. Obviously, there's no way for us to follow this thing of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because we can't say our birthmark also is like his birthmark, or I want to seal a prophet just like he had a seal of prophethood. These are things that are just supposed to increase the mahabba and the love and the realization that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a real prophet, and the Sahaba were experiencing this day in, day out by seeing him and understanding about the reality of his prophethood. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to understand the akhlaq of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the beautiful character. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, now we have the salawat on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those who have the time, inshallah, can participate.